Welcome, one and all. I'm Pamela Eakins, and I am the producer and editor of this book, Sanctuary, which we are presenting tonight for the first time. Sanctuary, a haven, a place to go, a place for us to be, a place for us to rest. Sanctuary is familiar ground, our vital, sensitive core, and our ultimate destination. In the pages of this book, the Sisters of the Holy Pen, a global group of women writers, explore the meanings of sanctuary as they write honestly and truly from the depths of the writer's soul. The sisters brilliantly reveal the breadth of fear and love contained within this quest. Join with us now, the Sisters of the Holy Pen, on our journey into understanding. Travel with us into your own depths, into the ultimate sanctuary of the inner cosmos within the revelational cosmos that embraces and informs us all. May this poetry be your homecoming. May this poetry be your sanctuary. May inspiration be your guide. And now, let us begin with excerpts from our new work, Sanctuary, starting with Roberta Wentzel-Walter in the Forest in Spring.
Forest in Spring. The forest is my sanctuary, bursting with vibrant light. Oxygen-rich exhalation of trees nourish my inhalations. The carbon dioxide that I exhale sustains the trees, symbiotic relationship. In my walking meditation, the rhythm of my moving feet over dirt, plants, and rocks supports observations of spring's gifts. Irises, trillium, fetid adder's tongue. Winter's hand overlaps with a fascinating variety of fungi. Warbler and thrush songs liven the soundscape. Wind in trees, a warning, widowmakers. My feet crunch on the path over dried leaves, rocks, and dirt. I am contributing to the soundscape. The air smells clean. There's a freshness to it. Fragrances of living plants waft on cool breezes. combining with the fetid smells of decomposing matter in the moistness of the forest. The forest is alive. As my body progresses, as my walk progresses, my body registers a good feeling. The endorphins have kicked in. In the forest sanctuary, I renew, tap into vitality, gratitude, peace. As I return home, I am blessed. Roberta Wentzel-Walter.
Tipping point. I'm startled by this field of milkweed that seems to have sprouted overnight. At first I thought, new growth, new life. But isn't it the same life, buried unseen for many months, now visible in an instant? Isn't this the new growth of the same seed, the original seed, the first seed of creation, sprouting in fractal forms everywhere I look? I've wondered lately, what if there is no crisis? What if it's an imagined story, this tipping point into disaster or divine? What if we could experience each moment as sublime, knowing that the days will continue to unfold with or without us? What if the crisis is the expectation that we are supposed to achieve some outcome or another? But if there truly is no destination, then how can any movement be wrong? What if we're simply too many captains trying to steer a ship toward its own demise? Could we let our stories fall into the wasteland of ideas? Let our efforts and strivings tear us so far apart that all that's left is an unguarded heart. Maybe then we can finally feel again the wonder of a simple moment, free of struggle, free of hope. Jennifer Bloom.
The hurricane. In the hurricane is the power of nature and the wildness of wind. But in the eye, I feel peace. I open my eyes, hanging in immensity. In the moment of stillness is the portrait of my truth, that I now feel deeper than ever. Elina Vas.
Nature is the goddess. O glorious goddess, I climb your mountain peaks and bow in awe at your beauteous bounty. Mountains, verdant and tall, manifest your powerful nature. Plains weave and reweave your bounteous beauty. Deserts hiding living wonders in painted plains. Lakes reflect your receptive heart. Rivers quench nature's thirst. Oceans birth myriad life forms. I worship you and all your sacred beauty. I climb your mountain to seek sanctuary. As I climb, I marvel at your fecundity. Flowers reveal cracks and boundaries of tumbling rocks. Streams flow down your flanks, bestowing life for all. Boulders rise with your power. Animals burrow in your core. Grasses grow between cracks. I chant thanksgiving for you, Mother, Nature, Goddess, as sanctuary. You who safeguard nature's cycle of life. O glorious Goddess, tumbling rocks express your anger. Bodies and fauna become crushed by your power. Earth herself reflects your moods. Anger, strength, love, forgiveness, and fertility are a pittance of your power. Death comes to all, and the great goddess offers sanctuary from life. Birth comes to all, and the great goddess offers sanctuary of life. Today I seek you in the holiest of holy place. Today I worship you as nature. O glorious goddess, today I seek sanctuary from arid modernity. Today I seek sanctuary from discordant mundanity. Today I seek you in all your myriad manifestations. Today I seek grace in your bountiful arms. Today I climb to worship your verdant nature. Today I seek inner peace at your holy altar. O glorious goddess, today you bestow sanctuary for my heart. Sharon, Jaya, Kman.
Valles, Caldera. So many times, walking on flax-colored earth, I hear prayers embedded in stones. So many places in the high desert, secret places of worship, hallowed by people attentive to the song of the land. A Tesuque Pueblo woman told us once to be careful where we placed our feet. She said even the smallest pebbles were shrines, dotting the larger tabernacle of a volcanic temple. We sat silent, my friend and I. We had come to her for a blessing, to let her know we were laying down our hearts on the altar of love as others had. So many times we had visited and explored the beauty of our Southwest mother country. It grew us sacred. It made sure our talk grew corn. And one day we were gifted with knowledge, unknown and untested. Angels whispered their giveaway, unveiling an outline of a sacred hoop. Yes, we said, yes. We became pilgrims in our own backyard, a territory of over 300 miles, encircled by stars and sky stones, enshrined by constellations, opening cosmic truths in the silence, in streams where we splashed and laughed, in landscapes that look like the moon, ley lines of perspectives new to our bodies and our tongues. No playbook but the compass of the heart. No formal invitation other than to discover holy land within and without. Friends new and old, opening to the mystery trails the ancestors had walked, breaking bread after ceremony together. A supervolcano is the heart of our hoop. Magma blown wide, birthing shrines for future generations to discover. Water fire creation above and below. 12 years now we hold true. Our sanctuary, Valles Caldera. The sky knows us now. The earth greets us, receiving our prayers and our problems and our quiet. As we burn sage, pour water in thanks, and sprinkle rose petals into its great heart. Norma Tarango.
In the Sacred Heart, the sanctuary of God is the safest place I know. It is the center of the center, the heart of the heart. It is home base, the place where God resides within me as me, the place where I keep company with the Most High in deep contemplation and utter beingness. I must seek it in utter sincerity. I must be very quiet. I must become very still, for it is the holiest place there is. If I go there, I go seeking solace, and solace I will find. I go seeking refuge, and refuge I will find. I go to comfort my very soul and my aching, broken heart, and comfort and mercy do I find. I go to quiet my mind and find inner peace, and inner peace I find. I go in humility with a question, accepting the fact that I don't know what I don't know, that I desire to know, to set myself free. I ask, and then I wait. In the silence, receptive and patient, in total trust and faith, asking for a sign, asking to be shown the way forward toward greater light, toward greater love, toward greater freedom and joy. When the world gets too chaotic or my pain is too intense and tears stream down my face, I take refuge in the sacred sanctuary. Meditation is my pathway. Prayer is my guide. Spirit is my companion. As I sit in the vast spaciousness of the presence of love, everything else disappears except this love. For at the highest levels, that is all that is. Santon de la vie.
The Lord's sanctuary. Bless me, Lord. I see your brilliant light shining through all that is. The trees you planted into the earth so their roots can reach deeply underground, their tentacles spreading out in all directions, while their arms are stretched up to you, my God. They gaze upon all that happens with steadfastness and forbearance. Birds of nature, sing your song of joy to me as they stretch their wings to find your soft breath, finding shelter in the trees when you ruffle the breeze into a mighty wind. Everywhere I turn, Lord, I drink in your beauty. Walking along the creek, I feel your coolness on my cheek. I hear you speak to me in the gently tumbling water. Just as you created the beauty of the earth, I know that I am part of all that is. My heart is lifted up in thanksgiving to you, O Lord, for you are my God, and you have called me by name. Praise be to you. Pamela Starr.
Outstretched hands. Each year, when summer left the trees, my mother united again with a band of special women, a band of sisters who had lived and studied together, graduated, and nursed soldiers together. These women had worn army uniforms. Less than waist high to most, my scenery was limited to midriffs of skirts and dresses. I was a tag-along 5-year-old who found a place to stay out of the way of their garden reunion. Dutifully, I remained visible to my mother, and I found refuge near roses, a pond of water, and a structure of stones. Bent from my waist, I was close enough to the smell of cool water to hear the silence of the stones. Then I sat among the stillness, broken only by tiny transparent fins flipping at the water of the pond. My legs were long, but not long enough to touch the ground from a cement bench upon which I sat. My body was in one place, yet my legs were swinging back and forth, waiting. In an instant of timelessness, my body flooded with a profound sense of wonder and amazement and a complete absence of discord. I looked around in astonishment and in awe for any clue where this feelings could be coming from, for surely they were coming from outside of me. I slowly looked up from my shoes that I had been staring at while I was sitting on the bench. Were the silent stones kindly remembering me with such joy? Were the roses' blooms blazing with light, making my heart spin in amazement? Was the water singing clear notes of love, brought to the surface by tiny swimming sails, breaking open my heart and filling my little girl body with wonderment? It was only then that I realized I was sitting by a stone grotto that housed a statue with a woman whose hands were outstretched to me. Could this be the source of my joy, my wonder, my delight? She did seem to be reaching out to me. Was she like my grandmothers who could love me with no words, no argument, disorientation, or confusion? Could this lady who was opening her heart to me, surrounded by compassionate stones, blazing roses of light, and water notes of love traveling through my body? Who could this lady be? And who was I that could deserve such open-handed love? I remember her love streaming into my heart. I felt the truth of her love, and I rejoiced in being alive. From that day, I have sought her outstretched hands and renewed myself over and over in her love, in her roses, in her silence, in her earth, in her creatures. Over and over, I have felt the truth of her love. Love brought me here, and I rejoice in being alive. Pamela, Wylie.
A grotto by the sea, it beckons me. I enter and feel her presence, her sacredness that resides within. Many have come before me, and many will come after me. But in this present time, I dwell in her essence. Sanctified. I feel the divine feminine, the goddess, in every crevice and crack, emanating from the stone walls and floor. As I sit, I'm enveloped in a sea of love and awe and wonder, my soul renewed and restored through this holy sanctuary. Maura, McBratney.
She who planted the seed of grace. Son, do you remember when you were 6 and Nina asked if you would help heal your father and you said yes? The scene was a hushed one. She then appeared, flowing out of the inner sanctum of the old farmhouse, wearing the all-white Punjabi-style clothing, which she always did. Her long and white braids neatly flowed down to her waist, defining the shape of her tiny frame. Welcome, she said simply, briefly engaging each of us with her penetrating gaze. We all were silent for a few moments. I listened to the sound of birds chirping through the open window. The slight breeze coming in from the sunlit meadow nearby was imbued with the delicious aromas of the Vermont summertime air and rich, pungent undergrowth which surrounded the trees of the nearby deep forest. This forest was very different from the one at our own home in Wisconsin. Both woods were familiar and magical to me, both in their own unique ways. She asked if we were comfortable. We were seated on a floor futon with many soft pillows,
lovingly hand sewn with claws of soft hues, lavender and pink. The children were attentive and curious. My husband, wary. She was just too different from his personal comfort zone. I, however, was totally engaged, adoring my mentor, so happy to once again be in her magnificent presence. In some circles, she was known as a sadhu, a religious ascetic or holy person. Nina Gatana rarely left her secluded existence, preferring the constant company of the charged atmosphere. She actually lived in a cave at the end of a winding, narrow pathway behind the farmhouse, through the hardwood forest and next to a magical and reflective small pond. In all those years, few had ever been allowed into the sacred space where she lived. And once during a meandering walk after visiting the western tree, I nearly stumbled upon a little smokestack sticking out of the moss. I realized with a start that I was standing on her roof. Has your journey been fruitful? She kindly asked. Nina, of the persuasion that nothing is ever lost in the ongoing acquisition of higher consciousness, once told me, use everything for your spiritual advancement. Her complete interest in me, as well as in everyone who found their way to that remote place, was altruistic to the highest degree. Once, years before, when I had come alone, she handed me a glass of water with both hands, and I felt she was offering me nirvana. Such was her love and grace. In response to her question now, I became uncomfortable, not knowing how much of our difficulties to divulge. The children needed some protection, what we could manage at least, from the worst of our, at the time, hard and complicated adult world. Nina, seemingly sensitive to my dilemma, suddenly asked my little son, will you help heal your father? The child, all innocence, did not hesitate. Yes. His response was firm and heartfelt, sincere and serious. But how could a child of such tender years fully understand the future implications of that simple word of commitment? How could any of us have possibly known at that moment what traumatic drama was ahead for all of us to struggle through? She continued, this time smiling and looking directly at my husband. I deeply appreciate your need to live in the woods. I also share that necessity. Our daughter listened in rapt attentiveness. Being 5 years older than her brother, she seemed to grasp the solemnity of the moment and that some unknown future event beyond present understanding had made itself known, a foretelling. After a brief and enduring final exchange of words, the four of us walked back down the trail towards our old truck parked at the country road. We went over the arching stone bridge, cold water rushing merrily below, past the busy bird feeder, past the ancient and slowly dying apple orchard, and emerged into the brilliant and clear blue sky beauty of this supercharged land. I felt lighthearted and confident, now knowing for certain that Nina was sending and would continue to send energetically all possible aid and support to us for when we again return to the realities of our backwoods Wisconsin homestead. I hugged my husband. I deeply loved that man, and so it was. It would be 2 more years before I would begin to more fully understand the implications of Nina's strange question to our son. After all, my husband's traumatic Vietnam experiences had ended 15 years earlier. How could anything that removed and remote from our current lives have any possible consequence to my world here and the world of my family? We had never even heard of the term PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Of necessity, we would soon become deeply educated into its vast and complicated terrain. The memory of Nina's sanctuary of love and confidence provided courage and stability and kept me hopeful that all was not lost, that we would somehow find our way through. All long journeys have an endpoint, a resolution. While traveling, perseverance and faith are required as knowledge and wisdom are gradually unfolding. Rapidly now approaching my own endgame, I see the beauty and understand more of the purpose, along with contemplating the ongoing mystery. And like most journeys, one tends to remember best the good parts. No matter what, we are all lovingly held in the lap of the Creator, the Beloved, and there rests the joy. Jessica Webb.
Where was sanctuary? I played in church while Daddy wrote his sermons. We had to be quiet near his study, always in the sanctuary. We listened to Daddy's sermons in the sanctuary. The congregation lifted voices to praise God and Jesus in the sanctuary. We prayed in the sanctuary. I imagine lost souls knocking at church doors, souls with pale faces and shaking hands, souls with cruelty close behind, souls seeking sanctuary in the church. I imagine doors opening to welcoming arms, doors opening to safety from endless persecution. I imagine souls finally safe in holy sanctuary. I imagine souls finding sanctuary in church. Where was sanctuary when the abuse began? Sharon, Jaya, Kman.
Deep below. Come from deep below. Been here long time. Come from deep below. Go to get the magic. Down, down, down. Come from deep below. Been here long time. Come from deep below. She's wandering, heady. Think she's got it all. But lo, she kisses not the whole. I am grieving and hold her key. Come from deep below. Been here long time. Come from deep below. Soul, soul, soul. My cries will call her home. Go to get the magic. Down, down, down. Come from deep below. Been here long time. Come from deep below. haggard, dripping, starving, twisting, beaten, shackled, refused, judged, fixed, or attempted, turn to rage. Soul, soul, soul. My grief will call her home. Go to get the magic. Down, down, down. Come from deep below. Been here long time. Over and over and over. I come from deep below. Been here. I've been here. A long, long, long time. Raven, Eakins. Countryside. And so, instead, she took to the countryside, scouring her hills and valleys for the bones, burying, blessing, crafting, perching on edges of the grassy, long wildness of things, waiting for a view to the kill. Instead, she took to the countryside and watched death in the dusk from afar. Raven, Eakins.
Journey. Children. My sister walked, too numb to cry, shattered, stumbling, a staggered lurch. But she could not, would not falter, hesitate, or waver, though her shredded feet in her ruined shoes were bleeding. My sister walked the narrow path through screaming white hot desert, dusty rose, and tan, where no rose bloomed except the rose on the saguaro and the rose of Mary that bloomed in her heart that was bleeding. My sister walked, careful and reckless, elated and defeated, between prickly pears in a world of spikes and stickers and splinters that gore, drill, enter, pierce, and tear her canvas shoes. My sister walked in tatters, too numb to cry, stumbling, her feet in ruined shoes, bleeding. She would not fall, she could not fall, What path this? What life this? Her stronger sister trudging boldly, water bottle thumping, head clattering with bloody visions, her 4 brothers dead, the dirt floor, the red floor, the absolute limits of dead weight when the weight began, when they would try to find a way into the long walk to a home they had never known. And in their great loss, they were continually accosted. And she felt dead already, the loss too much to bear. Juanito walked beside her, 7 years old. They walked for a time with the 150,000 who came that month, though his shoes were ruined also. Juanito rarely cried. They walked over 1,200 miles, fleeing horror to arrive into horror. Separated like animals at the US border, mother and son were parted and penned with 50,000 other asylum seekers, also fleeing the unspeakable. My sister cried out. My sister begged. My sister exhausted, overwhelmed, depleted. Please don't do this. My son is a child. But Juanito was dragged forcibly out of her clinging arms and herded into a child pen where he slept on a cold concrete floor under a metallic cover, under glaring lights that never turned off, when he whimpered for his mother, where he whimpered for his mother with his eyes clenched shut, and he seemed to go crazy. In the year 2019 alone, 69,550 immigrant children were held in US concentration camps without their parents. As of today, over 2,000 children separated from their parents remain at the US border, abandoned. Their parents are unnamed, or their parents are missing, maybe dead, or maybe alive and hoping their children will be given American parents and a good life. Since to go back to the place where the murders occurred is most certainly a death sentence. Juanito was given a home with an American family. He entered the first grade in public school, where he is learning, alone now, though eager, how to think in English. Eagle Woman.
Scar tissue. Listen, it's not easy. It's never easy. This life is a school, a testing ground for heart and soul. It may not be easy, but on one level it is simple. We are all wounded. It's not possible to live without collecting scars. It's what we do or don't do with it that matters. My great uncle always walked with a limp. He broke his leg at 12. The family was too poor to go to a doctor, so his leg was never splinted and it healed crooked. He spent his whole life in agony on a twisted limb full of scar tissue because he was afraid of the pain, afraid, just straight out afraid of having it rebroken to heal straight, afraid of the recovery, afraid. So yes, we're all wounded, some far worse than others. And it can take our whole lives to heal, to lean toward the pain rather than away, and re-break that original brokenness. It can take everything we have, one by one, to do the inner physical therapy. And it takes a long time to understand that the pain of re-breaking leads toward a new strength, a new flexibility, a new beginning. We don't really know that truth in our bones until we've done it. So we take it on faith and lean into hope for a better tomorrow. Of course, we could instead close the doors, turn away, huddle around the wounds, shut down, fester, grow less flexible, stiffen up, protect the weak leg, grow bitter, rage at our woundedness, lash out, blame, drown in our isolation, because we're terrified to re-break it and to face it. In this way, there's always a choice. The next thing is also simple. First, we have to sit in our own pain, walk, limp, stagger the hard road through it, and find our way out the other side of it. Because only then do we have the imagination in our hearts to feel it, our connection to the pain of others. Only then can we reach our hands back for everyone else who is wounded. Because only then can we see ourselves in others and others in ourselves. Only then can we feel the connective tissue, the similarities among the differences, recognize we have relatives all around us who, different as they may be, have also suffered. Only then can we turn toward and not turn away from the pain of the others and the beauty of the others. Only then can we remember that we rise and we fall together. This is what the School of Pain and Scars offers us. The complicated thing is, right here, right now, the pressure is building, the stakes are rising, the world is suffering, the planet is suffering, our country is bleeding, destruction is all around us. There is no avoiding the pain now. The collective wounds howl loudly. They echo off the buildings and the chaos rises. Half of us are afraid of re-breaking the leg, as the need for each other to face this rises by the day. The choices are getting simple, yes or no, together or apart. We could work the wounds together and rise back up together. If ever there were a time for truth and reconciliation, it is now. Or we could refuse the call to open the windows and doors. We could huddle around the wounds and grow bitter, stiffen up, rage about our woundedness, lash out, blame, drown in our isolation. The thing is, though, the clock for change has almost run out. And if we refuse to face the wounds, if we turn away from rather than turning towards, we may very well fall together and take out the house we live in. The wounds and the scars and the choices we make have simplified down to this: yes or no, together or apart, turn toward or turn away, love or hate. Kathy Carlson.
A cry for compassion. Jan Edgerton. I cry for the babies at the border, for they are innocent and have done no wrong. I cry for the mothers and fathers separated from their families. I cry for the wall that is a symbol of separation, not strength. I cry for all those who cannot see the humanity in the people flocking to this country for a chance to be free from oppression, poverty, and illness. I cry because we raise this flag of ours as a beacon of our own, but are unwilling to share it with those in need for shelter and protection. I cry because there are ways to help, but instead money is spent on arms, the kind intended to defend, not comfort, those in need of safety or provide protection. I cry and ask why, in a country with so much, we turn away those in need, pleading for help and arriving with nothing but little hands of their children and the clothes on their backs. I cry because we are running out of time to redeem the concepts of our founders who asked to care for the tired, sick, and oppressed. We must look into our souls to retrieve this original notion of freedom and compassion. I cry for the day that we join together in compassion to help comfort those less fortunate than we, so that true freedom and liberty rule our lives because of our compassion for others. I cry that my dream of a free, compassionate country become a reality before I have to leave this wondrous place and lay my body down. Jan Zemansky, Edgerton.
Anamkara. In the sacred moment of Anamkara, two souls suddenly recognize one another. There is an awakening between you, a sense of deep and ancient knowing. Light pours through space, enters our hearts as love. Love in a dark room where I thought I couldn't breathe through this impenetrable sheath of gathered dust. I sweep my arms wide, let my heart be exposed. I sweep my arms wide, let light shape my body divine. I sweep my arms wide, my soul a benediction of recognition of you. And in this precious moment, I dare claim love as my holy sanctuary. Aliveness, meaning aliveness, this moment of our blaze is passing. As we fall through this shining portal of our shared presence, we enter into immaculate innocence. In this place of spacious vulnerability, I lose my fear of the world. I reach deep to pull a diamond from the womb of my heart. It's been gestating there through the weight of lifetimes. Only you and the beloved know the depths of my wager. Judy Ann Morse.
In remembrance of your arms, or are they my arms? The embrace, the melding, enclosing. Your energy expands me, or is this my energy expanding us? Flesh on flesh, hands clasped, wide open, enclosed in the space of my bedroom. Space, time, which expands as we combine to a more than we and enter a field of wildflowers, a remembering of time, which lingers in the present, love making in a meadow. The flowers as stars now, in never-ending universal flow of light soaring endlessness. So many lifetimes gather here to remember the clear depth of a secret sanctuary. Carolyn Ayers.
Lovers.
The day starts in the sacred grotto, where dreams float free, sunrise. When night falls, covering the day, bodies slipping towards each other, lovers embrace, melded through years. Into your arms, the deepest place of sanctuary, sanctuary of the heart. Cheryl Ban.
The sanctuary of divine love. Bloom into the nothingness of divine love, which is excruciating beauty. To hold you in this space, I must unlearn grasping. I think I am going to be writing love poems for a long, long time. Judy Ann Morse.
Home and family. Designing a life. A home grows from my husband's heart, from his architect's pencil, blueprints carefully drawn, foundations made of love. A puzzle takes shape, lumber arranged until the pieces stand stacked, positioned, undaunted to the task of holding the framework of a family's life. So many choices, blues and browns, details matter. Stairs winding up and up, every step, a spiral of life. Reaching the top floor, a bird's nest in a tree, mountains to see, clouds running free. Our family made a home, our sanctuary. Children climbed the stairs in bare feet. Measured steps filled the years. Children's Legos pieces replicated in yellows and reds, the building blocks of life. From a single window in the kitchen, I've watched the world change, looking down the road towards the open sea, before turning the innocent corner at the end of the street. There's a stop sign, a slight pause, and then gone from sight. I have watched little hands turn big, holding others' hands, bikes and skates and dogs and cats, surfers, cars, trucks, girls, boys, old, young, friends, neighbors, family. They have turned the corner past my sight. My love said he built this home for me, designed for his family. He saw the sun streaming through so many windows. He placed a garden up high, green sprouts growing from the rooftop, stars a crown in the indigo night, an astronomer's gift. I sleep with the changing moon, and I wake kissing the sun. Cheryl Ban.
An oasis. 4 walls, whispers of love and warmth, and offer to me a sanctuary of peace to heal my aching soul. Pamela Starr.
A pot to piss in. All I need is a pot to piss in, for if you have a pot to piss in, you likely have a place to keep it in. A room at least, and a privacy curtain to give you confidence. And a locked door to keep your pot safe from thieves. Clean water is vital too, for one must drink in order to have need of a pot to piss in. Some food would be good too, kept cool in a cooler with ice on hand, for the making of which I have procured a freezer. Lights at night, also a perk, and devices to keep connected. For what is a pot to piss in without a social network to admire it? And while we're at it, a bed to sleep in, and a bit of a wardrobe, for one must be presentable. For after all, I am wealthy enough to have a pot to piss in, and the presence of mind to know that is enough. Amanda Covatana.
Sanctuary in my mind. I choose better feeling thoughts. My mind becomes a better feeling place. I can be safe inside. I now trust myself to come back to joy. In synchronicity, I find inspirations. The universe has your back cards on my friend's coffee table. The first I pick. Joy is the ultimate creator. A second, attack, pain, fear, judgment, any form of separation are merely calls for help. A deep bubbling sigh rises up in me. A reframing. I am a spirit having a human experience. I am here to get closer to love. Sanctuary in my mind. Donna Black.
Matote. I stopped trying so hard to be the something I thought they dreamed. I then began being the something that existed within my dream. And now I've discovered I'm both dreaming and being dreamed. Kirsten Harwick.
Liminal space. Finding sanctuary in my interior liminal space is not a task for my weaker moments. At times, the space between my physical and spiritual selves feels like a plate glass mirror shattered, and I'm gazing into reflections of myself, all of me. These reflections make me feel uneasy and complete, a fraction of my wholeness where light shines in a rainbow of colors, even when dimmed, well worth examination and introspection. One shard displays neediness, a desire to be seen favorably by others while suppressing my truth, a voluntary edit of my beauty. Another piece reflects generosity. Then, on closer examination, I discern ulterior motives at work and I inquire what I want in exchange. As I proceed with my reckoning, I am propelled to identify and confront these unacknowledged thoughts, actions, and fears. Honesty is harsh during this re-examination of life, my life, the part I play on this cosmic stage. But again, I gaze into the reflective shards and detect the wonder of the cosmos staring back at me. It is then I know I am moving beyond the threshold to the edge where unexhumed beauty and adventure of the unknown awaits me. It is a process of becoming that brings me untold blessings and freedoms. And so I go. I dive. Tony Buckner.
You belong here. You are not a mistake. You are on purpose. Every part of you. Thank you. You belong here. You have a place. You are a place. This place is you. You are irreplaceable. You belong here. Here you are. We want you here. We need you near. We hold you dear. All of you. Kathy McConnell.
You with graying hair. Take off the white cotton gloves you wore to temple Saturday mornings. Your flesh is silk and gorgeous even now, with its mysterious bumps and spots and transparency. Picture the rose petal, all the shades of pastel pink to carmine red merging, moist with morning dew, the light of dawn caressing its edges. This, your essence. No more approval to gain, no more victory to claim, no more doubting the love that is your birthright. Enfold yourself with wings of rainbow-hued butterfly and the mockingbird's multi-song language. Listen to what is important. Let the redwoods and hummingbirds bring you the news of the day. You are only a visitor and will not be here long. Feel the earth as sacred ground. Notice the majesty in front of you. Remember the standing stone circle that taught you forbearance. Your sanctuary and shield forged not in fire, but in the bounty of an invisible cloak surrounding you, all your stars in perfect alignment, gossamer, shimmering, even on the darkest of nights. This, the blessing of aging that was with you at birth. Sarojini Rowan.
Love swell. Everything is created and destroyed in the heart of the cosmos through a vibrational echo of love in the form of an infinite flame. Nothing is wasted, and everything connects. The fire within me is a spark of this eternal flame that devours and births everything that has been and will be. This flame is my soul dancing to a universal rhythm that never stops and has no beginning. This dance reminds me that movement, change, and evolution are truths that create an ever-expanding container of life. The cosmic flame burns brighter and brighter as I awaken to the power life has always offered me. I open my arms and receive the endless oneness that moves through the flames. The center of this fire is my heartbeat, and I am born from everything that I am. I am here to be this. Kirsten Harwick.
Pillars of light. Buddha said, "Be the light unto yourself." There is another world inside of this one, a pathless path carved by your own footsteps. You ask, how can this darkness be so intimate? Your body, tasting a moment of the sacred, becomes a revelation too intimate to talk about. You, a particular, precious pillar of light, a self released into a more luminous design. You, a sacred sanctuary for the divine. Judy Ann Morris.
Sanctuary of the heart.
no matter what, no matter when, no matter how, no matter then. For me, it all comes down to love. The choice for love, the choice to love, the choice to be love, the choice to see love where others see whatever else they see. Without love, there can be no sanctuary. Without sanctuary, there can be no peace. Without peace, game over, lost again, reboot and try again, and then choose love. The choice for love creates a sanctuary of the heart. From there, sanctuary can be projected out to meet its resonance or create a resonance from within, a residence of the heart. We're approaching the end game now. We've been programmed to run and fear and turn on one another. But we always have a choice. The choice for love. The choice to love. The choice to be love. The choice to create sanctuary of the heart.
Thank you, Lise. Thank you, my dear sisters, sisters of the Holy Pen. It has been my deep honor and privilege to work with you, with the Sisters of the Holy Pen, for the last year on 3 anthologies that we created: Liberty, Justice, and Sanctuary. And last year, we did 3 more books at the start of the pandemic Corona, Death, and Sacred Earth. So many of us have worked together now on 6 volumes. What a time we have had together. It has been amazing. Throughout this time of great social and personal upheaval, we collectively explored our hopes, our fears, and our emerging sensibilities. Most importantly, we learned how to listen to each other. We learned how to hear and how to understand with compassion, especially when we found ourselves on opposite sides of the political fence. All of us grew, all of us changed. I, in particular, learned so much more about the unequivocal power of each individual voice. And especially pivotal for me was the revelation that all 6 books seem to end in the same place, which was inside the power of love, where there seems to be no liberty. For example, practice love, and there will be liberty. When justice fails to reign, let love crown the realm, and there will be justice for all. When sanctuary seems impossible to achieve, if we turn our gaze to the power of love, the sacred earth will provide. With awareness and hope, we can lean through the veil that separates worlds. We can draw in the love that spins and floats throughout the cosmos. We can receive that love and we can radiate it. The sisters of the Holy Pen, all of you, have taught me how to love ever more deeply. Thank you so much, my sisters. You have shown me the way. Bless, 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 and love, love, love. And now we end with the sound of the bowl as we began. And thus ends our reading on Sanctuary, available on Amazon and through Barnes and Noble, and also at bookstores everywhere. Thank you all so much.